All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Happy Hour with Sambia and the Sambia Art Team. Cheers. Cheers to you all. Hope you have a little beverage that you can join us. So one of the things that we truly miss about being on the road, doing the shows, doing the classes out with you guys is this, just sitting down and maybe having a beverage after a class or beverage after the show, going to dinner, but just being able to sit down and actually have more of a casual conversation with each other about really who we are as people and our journeys within the industry. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to do this digitally. We're all in our individual homes, and we really want to invite you guys to get to know us a little bit more on a personal level. So if you have specific questions for anyone on the team, you're welcome to pop them into the chat. I can see the chat. I think that everyone else can see the chat coming in from YouTube and Facebook. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a beverage, and yeah, we'll just kind of get rolling. So Sammy, what should we talk about first?
Well, first, what I want to know is, I want to know what each one is drinking first. What's your choice of drink? Let's start there. Anna, what do you have? What do you have there?
I have a margarita.
Now, did you make that yourself?
I did not. I'm not that fancy today. But I did put some salt on the rim, so that was really my final touch, you know.
Good for you. Jesse, your choice of drink, brother, what is it?
Well, tonight I've got a light beer, which I'm going to just sip on gently while we talk. And then when I'm ready to start raging on somebody, I brought a shot of whiskey too.
Andrew, what are you drinking?
I have got a Boulevardier, 3/4 ounce Campari, 3/4 ounce sweet vermouth, and 1.5 ounces of, I make it with 12-year scotch now after Tommy got me hooked on that Highland Park 12-year scotch. So yeah, it's my fancy beverage. And just for a backup, I got cheap beer.
There you go.
Well, I happen to be drinking a Bobby Burns, and if anybody saw me live that one night, this is just a drink that Tommy actually recommended, and I fell in love with it. And guys, I got to be honest with you, I don't drink hard alcohol until I started hanging around with these two right here. But yeah, so once in a while you might see me with a little mixed drink, but really not necessarily.
We got super, Myra's drinking super fruit punch. Mary Ellen's drinking Diet Coke. We got some water. Soda, someone's on lunch. Oh, someone's asking what we raised for the social funds. Sammy, tell them our grand total for social fund.
I would be really excited to tell you what we did for our social fund. First of all, I just want to say what a great day it was to have all of those people on board with us for the social fund for a really great cause, which was to raise money for COVID-19 relief fund. And I'm so excited to say that we raised just over $22,000. So when you combine that with the $26,000 that we raised for the show must go on, and now $22,000 from the social fund. So I'm so proud as a team and as a brand, we've contributed $48,000. Fran Hadaway, Fran. Oh, Fran, we love you. But we've raised just over $48,000 for COVID-19 relief fund, which is thank you for asking. Yeah, so pretty cool.
So cool. That was such an amazing day. Wow, yep, so much inspiration.
I had to give a shout out there, Andrew, to the beautiful Fran Attaway. Fran, we miss you, my dear. We love you. You know, if you don't know Fran Attaway was always our model room coordinator for so many years. Fran taught us all so much respect. She taught us how to work in a model room, but we knew that if we had Fran in our model room, it was always a well-oiled machine, if I might say. So, Fran, it's great to see you.
And you also knew that there was no grab saying around when Fran was around either.
Fran kept us in line.
Right?
Yeah, she kept us in line and she kept us organized.
Yeah.
Anna, while we're waiting for some questions to come up, what's happening in California, my dear, with your salon? If you don't mind my asking, how's it going? Are you guys opening? Is that coming up soon, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no. So we're still waiting for the go-ahead from the governor. You know, we have a state license, so we need to follow state rules and make sure that we're complying to that. And so just anxiously awaiting. It sounded like yesterday that it could be a couple weeks, so we're really hopeful for that. And made kind of a plan last night, Chris and I, that we're gonna be ready to open June 2nd and hope for the best. We'll have the salon all dialed in and ready, and if we have to push it back, we will. But that's our kind of game plan. So it's exciting, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and just ready for it.
Tell me one thing, Anna, that you've discovered that we don't know about you while you've been off. Like, let's not talk hair right now, but tell me something that you've discovered that you go, wow, this is pretty cool. I didn't know I could do this. Would there be something?
Oh my gosh. I was joking about that today. I'm like, where was my time to find myself during all of this?
Yeah,
There was no downtime with 3 kids and, still, even though the salon's closed, it's like you're still trying to keep it afloat and keep the conversation with the clients and your staff and stylist. And so I felt really busy and like in a good way too, because I was able to focus on more video and all of that. So, but one thing that I found is tea. I've been drinking more tea. Wow. And then also fishing. We live on this nice little lake, and just the time that I've had with my girls at home. I have 3 little girls, and I have a tomboy, I have a princess, and then I have a little baby that's under 2. So all different personalities, but they all love to fish, even the little one. And so we've been fishing a lot and focusing on what's in the lake and what do we need to do to get it ready for us to swim in it. And so, yeah.
I noticed one of the girls caught a nice size largemouth bass.
Yes, huge. There's some great fish in there. You just catch and release. And there's some carp in there that are like the size of a small dolphin. So my husband has his bow and arrow ready, trying to catch one of those.
That's awesome. Hey, Jorge Perez from Puerto Rico. How are you, mijo?
Hey, Jorge.
Listen, buddy, I got your Suzanne Quinn reached out to me today. We're going to get back to you with a date. We'll set that up for you. No problem, Jorge. We got your back. Hey, Jesse, what about you?
Sir.
Share us something that we don't know about Jesse that you discovered while you've had this time off.
Well, I discovered that as hard as I tried, I could not exit my routine and regimen. So really? I would stay up really late, like doing stuff, TV, video games, but I would be up at 5 a.m. every day, no matter what. And so, I didn't get as much sleep as I was looking forward to on my staycation, but it was good. I got a lot done.
Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Andrew, how about you?
Man, something that I didn't know. That's a tough one to answer, Sam. I'm not sure. I think I've definitely found a couple of things, which, one of the things that is becoming very apparent to me is how much I actually like to be home, which is kind of challenging because it's like, as things kind of come back online, as the shows and as we can go back into, doing some hands-on stuff on the road, it's probably going to be a little bit of a hard switch back onto that kind of lifestyle. Because at first it was hard. It was like, man, like I should be going somewhere next weekend, or I should be on the road. I should be traveling. I should be doing something. But the more that I've spent my time at home, the more I've just realized how much I actually really love just kind of being here. And even just from the facts too, I've realized how much time I spent kind of wasting time just going and doing stuff. You know, like how often I would get in the car and drive somewhere to go like pick something up. And now looking back, I realize I think I was kind of wasting time. I think it was almost a crutch sometimes where it's like, well, I don't want to do the chore that I have to do or something like that. And so, oh, well, I have to run to Home Depot for this thing or that thing. And, you know, since you can't do that as much, you know, like you don't kind of want to go out as often. Yeah, just kind of being home, and you know, I've got my bass out. I've been playing music so much more, and getting into my photography much more again. And so yeah, there's just been some really cool, maybe not necessarily things I didn't know about myself, but a reconnection to some of the things that weren't as apparent before.
Good for you. I've discovered. Go ahead, Jesse.
Say that again, Jesse.
Oh, I want to hear about the bass. What is that you got back there?
Yeah.
Oh, this is my baby. It's
Can you plug it in and play
Fender
something?
Jazz bass. No, I don't have anything to plug into. I've been playing everything through my computer, but
okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, American Fender Jazz bass. This is my baby. It's traveled to the U.S. with me.
No.
Played some good shows over the years.
I've discovered, Anna, I could make a good fireman.
Nice.
And the reason I say that is because my little guy, Mateo, is into Fireman Sam. So I know every episode of Fireman Sam because he's got it on all the time. He is now taking control of the TV. It's pretty amazing. And the little guy's 3 years old. He knows how to work that remote. And I thought to myself, I don't know if that's a good idea. But I got to tell you, he's like, I know, copy that. Roger that, you know, I can go down a fire escape, and that's the high chair. So I've just discovered that the kid he's great. You know, I've really enjoyed, like Andrew says, I've enjoyed my time at home. Okay, paparazzi's around Andrew, but I figured out that I really enjoy my time at home, especially with family. And you know, watching the little guy grow has been such a reward in terms of his personality. You know, being gone so much and averaging 8 days a month at home, and now being home every day, 30 days a month, 31, I love it. So yet I miss being out on the road. I do, but I'm loving being at home too. There was one question back up here, Andrew, from one of them was about the salons in terms of what's the new normal going to be. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you what the new normal is going to be. I think it's going to differ from state to state. It's going to differ from salon to salon. It's all about, you know, your protocol. One of the things I discovered today was how important it is to have a good protocol together because I was talking to my wife, Lisa, and one of the clients, her mother, they have a great salon. I think they got like maybe 15 people working there. And one of the stylists forgot to clean the sink after she used it. And a client brought it up, but another person's client brought it up and said, that stylist didn't clean the sink. And I guess that's the new norm is that, you know, clients are going to be like this in terms of what they see. So, you know, I think it's going to differ from state to state in terms of protocols and things like that. But yeah. You know, it's going to be quite different. And I think it's all a matter of just navigating yourself through it when you get back to the salon.
And I think too, Sammy, there's almost a little bit of a danger in that term new normal, because we're not going to, I don't think we're going to find normal for quite a long time. Mm-hmm. I think the new normal, if there is one, is to be adaptable, because things are going to continue to change throughout this entire year. I mean, it's not just going to be a consistency. You know, every week there's new news coming out, and we just don't know what's going to happen. You know, next week, the best scientists in the world right now are all doing one thing. They're trying to find out how to get rid of this thing. So next week we could have a cure. Who knows?
Yeah.
Also, it could go the other way. 2 weeks from now, we could realize, oh crap, opening up was a really bad idea. We just don't know. So I think being adaptable is really what's super key right now, is just making sure that you're okay with going with the flow and continuing to move and flow with what happens each week.
Yeah, I think someone just made a comment there that Connecticut reclosed.
Mhm.
So that's interesting. So you have to, I guess, and I don't know why, but maybe it's just because of it's happening more. Who knows? But I think I totally agree with you. This is all about adapting change, embrace change and go with the flow, but do what's socially right,
Yeah.
uh, what's right for you and your area and your protocols.
Yeah. Steph is asking if we work in a salon every week or if we just work on the road. Anna, tell them about your balance of those.
Yes, it's a delicate balance for sure. But I'm in the salon 4 days a week and maybe 5 now that we're trying to get more clients in and one at a time. So might be 5 for a little bit. And then, when I'm home. And when we travel, I'm there. So it's really just about being present where we're at and what we're working on at the moment and giving it our all, whichever one. So, and then Jesse, I know you're in the salon too.
Yeah, 4 days a week. I live and die by my guests behind the chair. Definitely looking forward to seeing them so much.
Sammy, how long has it been since you were in the salon?
Oh, thanks for asking that, Andrew. Well, I've been in the hairdressing industry over 44 years. Make it perfectly clear, I started when I was 1, as my good buddy Chris Barron says. But I think that I was just over 20 years behind the chair, and for let's see, well, probably 25 years, 23 years. I owned my own salon for 20 years. And about 23 years, I was behind the chair, and I loved it. And do I miss it? Yes, I miss the connection with the clients. I miss the connection with team members, things like that. Yet I feel that my quest in life, my mission in life, is to educate and to share, and that's the path that I chose, is to do that. But I want everybody out there to know that I don't teach anything unless I try, true, and test it. I don't believe in teaching gimmicks. I believe that it has to work. So that's so important. But people say, well, a lot of people will say to me, Andrew, they'll say, well, how can you teach us when you don't work behind the chair? Trust me. I do. I live, breathe, eat, think, sleep this industry. Mm-hmm. So I feel where everybody's going through in regards to that. And I know that one thing is, people, Sam, what's the most important thing that I need to be aware of? I think it's revenue. I think everybody has to understand that going back, your revenue is not going to be the same unless you choose to work 24/7, which I don't recommend. But I think the revenue is going to change. So, be aware of that, be mindful of it, and adjust accordingly based on that. There was a Redken artist on the other day, and she was talking about the interviewer asked her, how many clients did you do today? And her shift was from 8 to 12, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 8 to 2, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. In 6 hours, she did 5 clients. So imagine that. In 6 hours, she did 5 clients because they can only take 1 client at a time. And she did 6 hours. She did 5 clients. All 5 of those were color, and one of them was corrective color. So you can imagine, if you do the math based upon what you charge, the revenue is going to be quite different. So I think everybody just needs to understand that it's not going to be the same when you go back. And I highly recommend that you don't go back 24/7. Remember, we've been sitting around for a while. I know you've probably been busy, excuse me. But the idea is, what it's like when we stand on our feet. I listened to some of the stylists in the salon, my mother-in-law, and they said, God, I'm tired at the end of the day, Sam. I go, well, you haven't been standing all day like you normally do. So I know in Atlanta, they have a salon, Van Michael Council. What they do is they work 2 days. They work 12-hour shifts, 2 days, 12 hours, and then they get 2 days off. Then they come back 2 days, 12-hour shifts. And, that's what he's doing, the way he chooses to split shift, because he doesn't want his people working 5 days, 10, 12 hours a day. He said they're going to burn out. Mm-hmm. So, every salon out there is going to have their protocol. So, it's just a matter of choice and what's right. So the main thing is overprotect and don't overact. You know, that's the main thing for me personally.
I'm looking forward to coming back as better business owners too, you know, like having this time to really get your prices dialed in and, you know, charge what you're supposed to be charging. And we found this new program where it tells you the cost of your color, the exact amount that you're using. And I just think that's brilliant so that you really know exactly how much the product costs for each client. And
Right.
yeah, just doing things like that to do better business, you know.
What about Anna, Jesse? This is for you because you're in the salons. Discount. How do you feel about? Are you going to discount? How do you feel about that?
No, I'm personally not discounting. Yeah, if anything, it might be more just based off how I was charging before. You know, needing to charge for things that maybe I was throwing in before because I was triple, quadruple booked, and you know now it's more a la carte and specific to each client. So I think a virtual consultation is what I'll personally be doing. I'm encouraging my stylist to do, and that really allows me to have that face-to-face conversation and walk them through everything, go through the consultation, go through the waiver, go through my pricing, and just really connect with them and have the time to do that. I think is going to be really important in that price difference, you know. So yeah. How about you, Jesse?
No, I don't see a reason to discount. I mean, it's a zero-sum game around here. If the time reduced and staff is reduced, there's still the same amount of people that want their hair done. So, you know, reducing the price is, you know, anti-capitalism. You know, there would be absolutely no reason to do that. I definitely would not punish my guests for having done anything on their own, though.
Right.
I've heard a lot of stylists talk about taking their clients or guests through corrective color procedures and protocols, and that was a desperate time. You know, people did what they had to do. So I'm just going to keep everything the same, allow people just to dive back in, and we pick up where we left off. No judgment.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good job. Yep.
We're professionals. We know how to fix it.
Right. Sonia, you're asking what the topic is today. It's basically, Andrew, why don't you tell Sonia what the topic is today?
Well, we just wanted to, you know, take a minute to just kind of chat with the team a little bit more, get a little personal, and you know, kind of talk about our adventures and journeys on the road. So, Sammy, let's kind of turn more back to like our kind of adventures and journeys in as hairdressers.
I got a great one.
I don't want to talk about COVID anymore. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm so freaking tired of talking about COVID. Let us please talk about something else.
Okay, I got a story for you. Some people, I get these people that they say, "What's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you as a hairdresser?" Okay,
there you go.
So here's one that I got for you, and you're not going to believe this. One of the best ways to practice is, as we all know, is mannequins. So I usually would, I put my mannequins in the trunk, close the trunk, and off I go. I was in the dentist office one day, and this policeman came in. He goes, "Who owns this car? Blah, 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 license plate, blah, blah, blah." They all go, "Oh, that's Sam's car." "And where is that gentleman?" "Oh, he's getting his teeth cleaned. He's back there." And the officer goes back, and they're like, "You, sir, no." And as he's walking out, he's like, walking into he comes in, he goes, "Are you Sammy?" And I'm like, Yes, officer, I'm Sam. And my dentist is like, "Can I help you?" And he's going, this man needs to come out to his car right away. And I'm like, "Officer, what's the problem?" He goes, "Sir," and now he pulls his gun out. And he's like, "You need to come with me now," like this. And I'm like, "Officer," and they're all looking at me like, "Sam, what did you do?" So he's like, points as we get out the door, he goes, "Is that your car?" I go, "Officer, that's my car." And as I'm walking, he goes, "Walk to your car." All these other police cars are coming up, pulling up with their sirens into the shopping center, and they're opening their doors with their guns and their rifles. And he's like, I go, "Officer, what's the problem?" He goes, "Not another word. Walk to your car." Now, as I get close to my car, I notice there's mannequin hair hanging out of the trunk. So I'm "Officer." He goes, "Not another word. Open up your trunk." And I open it up, and he sees that it's mannequins, and he's like this. Everybody, put your guns down. And I go, don't my mannequin. He goes, sir, we had a phone call that you had a dead body in your car. Next time, please put all your dolls inside the car. And I thought, oh my gosh, if you don't think I was like going crazy.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, but that's one thing that's happened to me that's just like crazy. You know, I mean, you talk about it, and you know, another thing, I'll share one more and I'll let you guys go on. People have asked me, what's the place that you've been to, Sam, that you remember the most? And the place that I've been to that I remember the most was Marrakesh, Morocco, when Redken sent me there to do a show at Club Med. And Redken, Belgium, had taken over the Club Med. So they had about 250, 300 people there at Club Med in Marrakesh. And they said to me one day, they said, okay, Sam, you're going to do your presentation poolside. They all want you to do it at poolside. Imagine 250 people in the pool. So I said, okay, if you want me to do it outside. He goes, we got a little tent for you, a little stage. I said, great. And then he said, wear some sunglasses. I go, okay, I'll wear sunglasses. And I thought, well, I'm going to be underneath the tent. Now, I was back getting my model ready. I come back out. He introduces me. So I come around from the tent, and I'm focused. You know me. I'm focused. I get out there, Jesse. I put the model down. I go, hi, everybody. Guess what? They were all topless. And Belgium.
Oh, that's a hair party.
Yes. So you could have seen me, and I could see the guy, the manager for the GM for Belgium, Redken. He's in the back, and he's just laughing because he knew typical American man would not be able to handle this. And I was, and can you imagine they're raising their hands out of the pool, asking a question?
Yeah.
It was crazy, 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 crazy.
Oh.
At least it wasn't bottomless too.
Sorry, Andrew?
At least it wasn't bottomless too.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving right along.
And what's the craziest thing that's happened to you in the salon?
Me?
Yeah.
I have nothing after that one. I'm like, what do I have? That's crazy. I have no idea. I got to think about that.
Jesse, do you have a good salon story?
I mean, not the salon. I mean, my salon experience is pretty meticulously controlled by me, so not very much ever really goes wrong. So, I mean,
wait, I gotta bring up this comment. Hang on.
What's the new meaning to Brazilian blowout? I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Hilarious.
I almost just spit out my drink. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Sorry. Go ahead, Jesse.
I don't know. I mean, I've got some pretty, a long time on the road. You know how things can get when you're out of town in airports and restaurants that you've never been to before. So, yeah, I got a million. I could tell this one, I think. I think it was Columbus, Ohio, 2017 or 2018. And that was the year that we were staying at, I'm not going to name the hotel because I don't want to put blame anywhere, but we were staying at this downtown hotel in Columbus, Ohio, and they had something called Nashville hot chicken and waffles. So being a Nashville native, I had to try it. And so it did not work out. And the next day I was on stage when it hit me. And so just this wave of nausea, right? I'm not going to get gross or anything, but just this wave of nausea. And I'm on stage delivering a program, and I'm instantly like soaked in sweat. And people are asking questions, and all I can think of is like, don't throw up. Don't throw up in front of all these people. And so I just go on autopilot. I'm just dumping the content out, just trying to get it done, just delivering the material, cutting the hair. People are asking questions. I'm just brushing them off however I can. And, and I think I ended up shutting a couple people down. So if you were there that day, I am very sorry. I was not myself. And I got back to I had to leave immediately. I came off the stage. I basically handed the entire weekend to Anna. So props to her, because
First
with
time.
no content preparation, with no forenotice whatsoever, she jumped up in front of 300 people and delivered 2 programs. So yeah, kudos to her for bailing me out. Not a funny story, I guess, but an interesting one. Don't eat any food from your region anywhere but your region. That's the advice I would have.
There you
One
go.
thing, Jesse, that I've learned about you, now know how to share your food.
I shared it privately.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And there must be a curse on Columbus or something, because I think 2 years before that, Jesse, I got off the plane in Columbus, and my like the whole right side of my head just kind of like closed up, and I was on stage like the next day or 2 days later trying to do my presentation, and like I couldn't hear anything, and all of a sudden just like, just the snot was like running down my face. I'm like trying to like privately kind of have a paper towel in the back, and I full on got like the craziest ear infection in Columbus, and basically spent a day and a half in my hotel room while I think we just canceled the classrooms I was supposed to do because we didn't have anyone to take them over. So maybe
ultimately,
we cannot do Columbus anymore.
Ultimately, I blame Braden Peltier, because anytime I hang out with Braden, I mean, we've got a lot of Braden stories, right, Sammy?
Yes, we do, buddy.
I will
Good
say
man.
he introduced me to 1990s gangster rap, which I will always be thankful for to him.
Yeah.
Can you do a little bit of that for us?
What do we got? We got some Biggie Smalls. That was the big one for me. Never heard of the Notorious B.I.G. before.
Yeah.
I was a metalhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they still talk about the time that I led Energy for 90 people at the Redken Exchange to Hypnotized by Biggie Smalls. It just broke them in half. I mean, it was awesome.
I could just imagine. Hi, Norman Harris. How you doing, brother? I hope you and the family are well from Canada. Hope you guys are doing well.
Oh, if we're giving shout outs too, how about one for Tara Duddy, who I've seen her in every single program. Normally she's rapping with Beth in the chat log. So Beth
yeah.
isn't here right now. So to Tara, I think she wanted us to count down and then have a sip for her. So raise them up. This one's for you, Tara. 3, 2, 1.
Woo!
Hey, Andrew, for some of the people that are just joining us, they're probably going, what are these guys doing?
All right. So if you're just joining us, we thought, being that typically throughout the year we're out on the road together, we hang out, we get to, close up classes at shows or within your salons, and then go somewhere and have a little beverage together and just wrap out and kind of get to know each other personally. That's something that's been missing in our lives lately. So we thought, hey, it'd be fun to just have a cocktail together, have a little happy hour as the team, kind of share some of our stories from the road. And so, yeah, if you guys have questions for the team at all, more kind of on a personal or industry sort of level, just throw them out there.
I'm ready.
Did you figure out your story, Anna? I want to.
Are you ready?
You have a story.
This is so embarrassing. So our salon has how-to hair nights where we invite all of our clients and anyone in the community to come, and we have wine and appetizers, and we do it like a class. We have chairs set up, and we teach how to style their own hair at home. And so I give each of the stylists turns, whoever wants to go that night and share something. And so we have a lot of fun. And my stylist Brooke just reminded me of this very embarrassing moment where she's up there teaching. She said she's going to take an exaggerated part. And I said, Brooke, what did you say? An exaggerated fart? And it just came out of my mouth, and I turned bright red and was just like, oh my gosh. And the whole room just started laughing.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrible, but
it happens.
So it's part comedy show, part hair show at How-To Hair Nights. Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Sam, Paula is asking how long you've been a stylist.
Oh, wow. That's a great story too. I went to, I lost count, Andrew. My answer has been lately in interviews. It's been 44 years, but I'll let you guys do the math. I went to beauty school in 1976. So that's when I went to beauty school, and which I'm very glad that I did. But yeah, that's what, 44, something like that. I don't know. I'm still young. I think the industry keeps us young. At least I like to think I am. But I hanging around with these three people, I have to keep up, like Jesse. God, I go, okay, so what does that word mean? that's it's just it's over the 44 years. So many people have taught me so many things, and I continue to learn. I think there's always something to learn in this industry. There really is, and lots of funny things also happen. All right, what else we got there, Andrew, on these? How do you keep from getting burned out?
That's a great question. And I think that's something that we could all kind of talk to is like, because I think we probably all experienced that at some point in our career, just that. And I think that's something good to admit, because especially for new people, they kind of picture, oh, I love this industry. It's going to be so exciting. But I think all of us have probably hit a point at some point in our career where it's like, I'm tired. Like, I'm just kind of done right now. And so I can share with you kind of my story. So it was probably kind of mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006. I had, been doing hair for about 7 years. I had really pushed super hard during those 7 years with education. I had worked for TG. I had worked with Paul Mitchell Hair Schools, and I was super busy in the salon too. I was doing what a lot of young hairdressers do, just busting out 55, 60-hour work weeks at the salon, jumping on an airplane Saturday, flying somewhere, teaching a class on Sunday, get back on the airplane, Monday morning, fly home, be back in the salon Tuesday morning, and do it all over again. And I did that for years. And so I got super burned out, of course. And I honestly started to lose passion for just hair in general. I actually talked to my life coach about becoming a coach, which I did end up doing, but I started to talk to her about becoming a coach because I thought I was going to leave. I was like, I think I've lost it here. But I ended up leaving Paul Mitchell School because I was so burned out. And I stayed in the salon, but then I started to find an opportunity to become a part owner of one of our salon locations. And so I think a big part of what helped me was to recognize that it wasn't so much the industry, it wasn't so much the work itself, it was my lifestyle that was burning me out. It was just too much of one thing. And gosh, Win Clayball, he has that Masters series, and I can't remember exactly who said it, but it just rang so true to me. He said that burnout doesn't come from working hard. It comes from doing the same thing over and over again. And looking back, that's exactly what it was. I just was doing the exact same thing over and over. I was probably doing the same haircuts. I was doing the same colors. I was working with the same schedule, the same patterns. Like, it just was this consistent process of the same things over and over again. And I think that that's what burned me out. And so change was honestly just the cure for that burnout. It was just doing something different. I changed my schedule, changed my environment a little bit, and everything kind of woke back up at that point.
Yeah, great story. I think, that's so important is your taste is a journey in this industry, isn't it? Your taste changed. I know mine has changed over the years. Obviously, it's been so many years, but it really does. I just find that my eyes and the way they see things, my hands and the way they hold things. Even this past weekend affected me, the social-a-thon, in terms of looking at everything. Andrew, we were so exhausted. You want to know what time I went to bed, bro? 3 a.m.
Really? You still stayed up, huh?
I just couldn't go to sleep, bro. I just sat in the patio, just reflecting on that whole day, and just thinking how much gratitude, the joy, and the love, and I was just a fire just got lit in me, you know. And sometimes it just takes moments like that to just revisit the past, guys, and just look at your past and look at where you're at today. I think that's so important to do that. And that's exactly what I did. Matter of fact, I'm trying to find a photo here. Somebody asked, what did you look like back in those days? So I'm trying to find one. And I'll keep looking as we go through conversation so I can share it with you. But
cool.
Here's one of, Andrew, I'm going to send this to you, bro. And I don't know if you can get it up or if you just want me to hold it in.
I can put it up.
Okay, I'll send this one to you. But I mean, you know, you look at the past, and I encourage everybody to look at that, you know, especially when you're down. Look at the past and reflect on the past, because there's great memories. You know, some of these stories that we're talking about, some of these funny times, things like that. And I think it's so important to revisit that. But I just sent you one, Andrew.
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, that was Halloween.
Hang on.
Wait for it.
And then I'm going to send you another, if I can find another one. That's Halloween.
Which one are, oh.
And guys, okay, I have to tell you this story. Please don't take this wrong, but let's just have some fun tonight. But I was a nun, but I was a pregnant nun. And we lived, the salon was across the street from a Catholic school. So imagine when I drove up and parked in the front and I got out, all these kids were walking across and down the sidewalk, working their way to their classroom, and they were all staring at me. And I thought, oops, you know, this wasn't the right time for me to get out of the car. But yeah, every Halloween we would always get dressed up, and this is just some of the staff here, some of the team. But we would always get dressed up and have some great times. And I love looking back at the past. And you know, I'm so fortunate I was surrounded by great people in those teams. And I've how many salons have I been in? One. Actually, I'm very fortunate. I was only in 2 salons. The first salon I worked at for about 5 years, then 3 years, and then after that, I opened up my own. But yeah, some great times. You know, like I said, I miss the salon world, but I'm very happy doing what I do, which is, you know, teaching. Just love being a teacher. And if anybody wants to know, I was big on volleyball. I played volleyball. I grew up in Santa Cruz, California. Played volleyball, grew up on the beach. Every day I was at the beach. When I'd come home, my mom would say, God, if you get any darker, you're going to look totally different. You know, I mean, I was like dark, pretty dark there.
I was probably just as dark as you, Sam. I played water polo my whole life. Yeah. So dark, yes. Just every day, twice a day in the pool.
So you had to tread. How do you water polo people tread like that during a whole game? That's like I could tread for 2 minutes. You know, surfing. I had to be on my board. You know, I mean, you know, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you guys did that.
You build up to, that's for sure. Could not do it now. I tried to go back 5 years after college to play in the alumni game, and my chest was hurting for like 2 days every time I breathed, trying to keep up with the girls that were in college at the time. Just 5 years out of it, it was horrible. But
Jesse, what hobbies do you have, Jesse? Do you have hobbies that we're not aware of?
Well,
come on, buddy.
How personal are we getting today?
That's right. I think it's time that I had my whiskey.
Here we go. Your little beer?
Come on, Jesse. Spill it.
You know, I used to have, before I was a hairdresser, this is my second career. So before I was a hairdresser, I had a lot of hobbies. But doing hair, I really don't. Hair for me, my profession is a huge part of my identity, right? So if I say I'm going to be a hairdresser, then I want to try and fully become that thing if possible. And so, you know, hair feeds my passion. It feeds my profession. It kind of gives me everything. I used to play music a lot. I've got a bass guitar almost identical to Andrew's. I was laughing at it because so I dabble with that a little bit too, just for fun. But yeah, truly, work, and I love work. I love everything we do. You know what I'm talking about, Sam? How it's your passion and your profession. You know.
I didn't
So
know
nothing
that.
unusual.
I was not aware you played bass.
I play drums better than I play bass, but I can't have a drum kit at this time in my life.
You need an electronic drum set, buddy.
No way, dude. Screw that.
Really well after a few drinks, but
I did see there was a question about the name Lunatic Fringe for the salon. I wish I could take credit for that because it is such a great salon name. But Sean and Angie, the couple that started that company, they were the ones that came up with that name. It was actually a friend of theirs. And the funny thing is they actually didn't even know that it was a song from Red Rider. They just thought it was a cool term that he threw out to him. But the interesting thing about the term lunatic fringe is the definition of it is a group of people that are all working towards the same kind of same mindset, same goal, but something that is revolutionary. So it just worked so well. It was such a perfect name because at that time, especially in Salt Lake City, that's what we felt like we were doing. We thought we were, as a group, we were really doing something that was revolutionary and very different at the time. And so it was kind of a perfect name to it.
To the fringe.
Yeah, to the fringe. My home is Lunatic Fringe.
Jesse, you now work with Lunatic Fringe, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it.
Jason Morgan, nice to see you on, buddy. I want to know who you're talking to about this three-wheeled bike. Come on, Jesse.
What three-wheeled? Oh, what?
Let's talk about that three-wheeled bike you used to have.
Okay, so I really wanted to have a motorcycle, but I was terrified of having a motorcycle, right? So I kind of worked my way up in stages. I got like the little rinky-dink scooter, and then I made the big jump to a 500cc mega scooter. And it was made by Vespa, but it was called I forget what it was called, but it basically had two front wheels that were independently suspended. Yeah. So you could lean it just like a motorcycle, but for some reason, like a moron, I thought having 12-inch wheels was, but having two of them was going to be a lot safer than a motorcycle. And, learned after riding it for about 2,000 miles that I didn't want it. So I sold it and got a real motorcycle.
My daughter has one of those.
It's called a tricycle.
Tom, it's funny that you say that because so many motorcyclists said that to me when I was out riding it.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was not well received in the motorcycle community.
No, I would have made fun of you, Jesse.
Got rid of it for the same reason why I got rid of my flute in 7th grade. I got tired of being made fun of by cooler people.
I'm so glad we're doing this.
Yeah.
I think that's funny on that. I'm still trying to scroll and find this one picture, but I can't find it. But anyway.
I want to know, one of the questions that I wanted to actually know, because it's something that I don't think I've ever asked. I've kind of heard your story a bit, Sam, of like what kind of got you started with hair, but I don't know that I've ever actually heard Jesse or Anna's story of like what actually made them become a hairdresser.
Love that.
You go first.
Well, yeah, so I went to college pretty much just to play water polo and figure out what I wanted to do. And everything I knew I wanted to do was kind of in the arts field, and becoming a hairstylist was one of them. I was also into design and interior design and acting too for a little while. So,
I can see that.
Yeah, so I was able to go to college and get my general ed done and play water polo and just kind of find myself and figure out what I wanted to do. And one thing led to another. It was kind of a tragic accident that had brought me home to, which I did not want to do, but I was brought home and kind of not in a good place at the time at all, but had really no other choice. But at the moment, like, all right, I'll go to cosmetology school. Like, that was on my list. And so I went and I hated it the whole time. It was not the best school in town at all. We didn't have very many options at the time. So it wasn't one of these amazing experiences that I wish I had, like so many other people did. But, you know, I was just getting through and trying to pass and get my license so I could go do hair, you know, and start my career. And so pushed through, made it out. And my first job was assisting George Garcia. Was his client. So she said, hey, I want to introduce you to him. She was just dating my brother at the time. And I want to introduce you to my hairstylist. I think you'd really like him. And he's an educator for Redken. And so I remember like the first day going in and meeting him, and he hired me. And from there, it's when I knew, like, okay, this is amazing. This is what I want to do. I want to be an educator. Like, I knew right away that that's what I wanted to do. So, yeah, so it was amazing after that, you know, but the beginning was rough for me and a really dark time in my life. And after that, it just really like blossomed. And what I love so much about our industry and what we get to do are all the different options we have and the unlimited amount of growth that we have. And so for me, like, I have to constantly be growing or I freak out. Like, I have to be doing something different, growing, pushing myself, growing the business, growing the people around me, growing myself, whatever I can to be bettering myself, just creatively, I think, and business side as well. And so that's what I love so much about this industry. There's just so many options and endless opportunities. It's really just up to the person, you know, how you apply yourself. So yeah, it's a happy ending. How about
you? Glad you chose the path you did. We'd be lost without you.
Yeah. Oh, you're so sweet.
Very fortunate.
So thankful. It's been amazing to meet so many incredible people. And right now, it's like I'm just so at home with our team, and so thankful for these connections that we have. And yeah, I can't say enough like how much I love our industry and our team. You know, my media team and my team in the salon, and it's just incredible, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah,
what about you, Jesse? What because I know that you had a different career when you first started. So what transitioned you from computers to hair?
Well, yeah, I had a tech job originally. Everything I used to be an expert in is probably 10 years obsolete now, but it was good. Total corporate job. I loved it. I had a great time, but that was around the time that the tragedy of September 11th happened. And, you know, so in the ensuing tech slump after that, you know, my job was in danger kind of all the time. And it was around that time too that there was a stock market crash, and I lost pretty much my whole retirement in that system. So I just got to where I just couldn't work, you know, experience that cognitive dissonance, you know, to where I was just so kind of messed up internally to where I just couldn't be right unless I made some kind of change. So the first thing I wanted to do was I was going to find a job that nobody could take away from me. So, and a really great friend I had at that time was like, oh, you should do hair. So just on that recommendation, I went for it and you know, quit that job and jumped into this business. Totally hated it for like a year and a half. And then
really,
I was working. Oh, absolutely. It was just such a different world for me. Like my first day in the school, you know, I'm observing the teacher doing some kind of cut. And she's like, all right, you run to the supply closet and grab us some serum. I'm like, right. And I go running back there. And then I'm like, what? What? So it was just a lot of moments like that. It's just a completely different world. But I was working at this really wonderful salon, and Jason Morgan, who we already called out, he kind of became my mentor. And because I just saw him in the salon, admired him, because this was a guy who was the coolest cat, and people were just drawn to him. I was drawn to him. Everybody wanted to be his friend. His clients all adored him. And I'm like, I want to be like this guy. So pretty much everything that he was doing, I started doing it too. Like started straight razor cutting, slicing myself to shreds. I wanted to get into education after I went and saw him teach a class. And, you know, he and my boss at that time, Gavin Smith, you know, helped me get involved with Redken, and everything kind of spiraled from there, leading me to these moments where I'm drinking beer and talking with you dudes in front of people.
Love it. Sammy's got a new puppy.
What?
Hey, this is Charlie. Charlie wants a high five, Jesse.
Oh, so cute.
Well, you just had to come in and just take a little sip of what's going on.
Sammy Burns.
Sammy, tell him what started you.
Oh God, what started me? I grew up in my dad's. Yeah, I grew up in my dad's barbershop. I didn't like it. I would shine the shoes, swept the hair, and I always told myself I'm never going to do what Dad does. But here I am today doing it, but on the cosmetology side. And I was going to school. I was playing volleyball every day. That's what I lived for. I was a PE major, and realized that there was just, you know, a PE major. I'm cutting school half the time to go to the beach and play. And so I decided I'm going to go to cosmetology school because I saw that movie. What was that movie?
Hairspray.
No, the other one. God, somebody help me out there. Come on, the name of the movie where he went and did house calls and he held his blow dryer like on a motorcycle, like a pistol. What was that?
Oh, Zohan.
The Zohan.
No, Jesse, not Zohan.
I know.
Movie. Anyway.
Hair.
Shampoo.
Thank you. Ooh, thank you, Anna. Anna Pachetta, nice to see you. So I thought that was a pretty cool movie. So I thought, wow, I'm going to be a hairdresser. They get to be around the women, all that kind of stuff. Typical, you know? So that was right, Lori. It was Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty, right. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I'm going to go to beauty school. So off I went. I came home one weekend and sat down with dinner with my mom and dad, said, I want to go to beauty school. My mom was like, what? My dad was clapping underneath the table. And off to beauty school I went. And my dad researched. I lived in Santa Cruz, California. I went to a school in San Mateo, which was about an hour and a half from Santa Cruz in south of San Francisco. And I was in school probably for about 2 months, almost 3 months. And the teacher came up to me and said, Sam, your rollers are falling out underneath the dryer. You might want to go check them, and then you might want to think of doing something else. Oh. So that kind of hit me, and I was like, oh, man, really? I mean, well, maybe I'll go back to college, I guess. But that's the weekend. My dad called me up and said, hey, we're going to go to a hair show. I said, what's that? He goes, that's where you go in and you learn, you know, trends and things like that. He said, be early. I'm going to pick you up. Midnight Cowboy, Jason, right? So that's great. So he picked me up early. My dad was pretty smart, picked me up at 7. And I got in the car. I go, Dad, who are we going to see? Now, let me remind you, this was 1976 in San Francisco. He said, we're going to see Vidal Sassoon. And I was like, wow, that's one everybody talks about in school and all that. My dad was smart, got us here early. We sat right in the middle, second row. And I watched Roger Thompson, Alan Benfield Bush, Vidal Sassoon, Christopher Broker. And there was one other man. They all just took these Asian girls with long hair and just melted into these great sculptured shapes. And I was like a kid at a candy store. I was on the edge of my seat. And I told my dad, Dad, I want to do that. And he said, what? I said, I want to be up there someday doing that. He looked at me and he said, now that's all ego and no money. Prove to me you can do it with no ego. That's all ego, no money. Prove to me you can do it with no ego and make money. So I went back to school with beauty, with intent and purpose, to prove to my dad that I could do it. So that's where my journey started. You know, that's where I really saw I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Anna Pachetto. God, it's so good to see you on here, Anna. It sounds like you have a similar story. I mean, you come from a family of hairdressers also. Yeah, I hated it too, just like you. But if you don't know Anna Pachetto, she is the Intercoiffure creative director for color. And and creative director, period, for Intercoiffure, North American Intercoiffure. So if you don't get a chance to see her, make sure you follow her online. She's incredible, incredible. Andrew, you've gotten into photography a lot lately, haven't you?
Yeah.
Talk to us about photography.
So the first time I ever got into photography, my dad actually bought me a little film camera when I was a kid. And I remember the first time we went out and took pictures with it. So, of course, back then you didn't have things like EXIF data. So you would take a little notebook with you and you'd write down what ISO film you were using, what was your shutter speed, what was your aperture, and you would take notes on every single picture. So when you get your photos back, you could kind of look back and say, like, okay, here was the exposure and all that kind of stuff. And we went to this place called Ricketts Glen State Park. And it's the coolest place. It's in Pennsylvania. There's trails that go through Ricketts Glen. And I think the first trail goes by like 25 different waterfalls or something like that. It's really incredible. Wow. So I have the first like photographic field trip I ever went on. We went and took pictures of these waterfalls and took notes and then came back and developed all this film. And it was really, that's honestly what hooked me as far as being a photographer. But over the years, I think like any kind of hobby, it comes and goes, right? Like sometimes you're super into it. Sometimes it sits and gets on the shelf and gets dusty. But I got really excited when I started working with Jake Thompson, when I started working for Lunatic Fringe, because he was one of the first people that I met that he was doing the hair and taking the photographs of the models too. And I hadn't really considered doing any kind of model photography yet. It honestly didn't really interest me because I was a nature photographer. I wanted to take pictures of landscapes and waterfalls and animals and stuff like that. But when I saw what he was able to produce by himself in this little studio that he had, it was super inspiring to me. And I remember the thing that actually kind of clinched the deal was Naha decided that they were going to do the men's category. They finally did like a specific just men's category. And I was like, I kind of want to do that. Like, I kind of want to do this men's category. And I had this vision for this like super gritty, super dirty, just like rough around the edges kind of photo shoot. And so I asked Jake if he would help me, because I didn't really have a great camera at the time. I had an okay camera. I think it was like one of Canon's kind of smaller digital cameras, but he had like a super sweet Nikon, I think the D800 or something. Like, it was a really nice camera, had a nice studio with good lighting and stuff. So he mentored me, let me borrow his camera, but you know, he'd help me get everything set up, get my lights set, but he would put the camera in my hand. He's like, okay, you take the pictures. Like, he would give me coaching and feedback and stuff. But it was really cool because that was the one and only time I ever entered Naha and actually almost won. I actually was nominated for that year. And it was so satisfying because it was like, what was on screen was my vision 100% from start to finish. And I think there's something to be said so much, Sam, for develop your team and like have the team that, you know, now we have Katie, you know, that takes our photos. And like, I would never want to take photos ever again of our photo work because she does such a brilliant job of it. But at the same time, there was something so satisfying doing that whole process start to finish. And it was like all mine. That was really cool. But a lot of my passion has returned more to like landscape. I've been kind of like getting up super early in the morning sometimes and like getting up before dawn and going up into the mountains and staking out a spot to like see the sun come up. And it's photography is more of an experience, I think, than it is just trying to capture a photo. It's this it's this experience you go through. And that's why I like when photographers talk about their images. It's like, I didn't take a picture, I captured the photo. Like, I think that's so powerful.
You know, Andrew, I love your Sunday sessions, and I love the way that's filmed and what you do. Who films that? I mean, it's just gorgeous what you're doing and how it's done. I mean, is that you with a phone, or how does that work?
No, it's me with a camera. Where's my gimbal? Hang on.
But I don't know if anybody's aware, but follow Andrew online. He does these great little things about his Sunday sessions. As you know, he's a life coach. So we're really fortunate to have him as a team. He guides us a lot in terms of his experience and being a life coach. So that's the gimbal.
Yeah, so this is what's cool, Sam. Like, what a rad world we live in, that we have the technology to do this stuff. Like the camera that I'm actually filming this on, it shoots in 4K, which, 5 years ago, you would have had to spend $15,000-$20,000 to shoot in 4K. And this thing can shoot stuff that looks like Hollywood film looked like 20 years ago. Wow. And then this thing, it wasn't cheap, but I mean, for something like this was like $400. And what's so cool is you put your camera on there, and I can actually hold it in front of me as I'm walking down the street and talking to my camera, and it looks like the camera is just floating in front of you. And so it looks like someone must be filming me.
Right. That's what it looks like.
It's so cool because it's all technology, and it's just things that we never would have had access to. And it's so fun to play with because I get to be, the talent. And it's kind of like I said with the photo shoot, it's like I get to be the person in front of the camera. I get to be kind of the person behind the camera. I sit here and I edit my own video content, we'll find the music content for it. And it's like one whole adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry, Anna. Go ahead, Anna.
Sorry. I was just saying, I'm glad you're not making Michelle follow you around with the camera.
She would, though. She actually it's funny. She actually really enjoyed supporting during the show must go on and stuff. She actually had a great time doing it. So, Anna, you're asking what is the brand? Are you asking the brand? If you're asking the brand of the gimbal, it's DJI. It's the Ronin SC. It's made for kind of medium-sized cameras. And then the brand of the camera is Fujifilm. It's the XT3 or XT4. And honestly, guys, like any of you guys watching, if you ever want feedback on video, photo cameras, gear, live streaming, all this stuff, I mean, all this stuff is things that we've had to learn over the years to be able to produce digital education. And if you guys ever need support and have questions, we are an open book. Like, we are here to support you. So reach out.
Andrew, where's your
show this picture?
Where's your Sunday sessions online? Somebody's asking.
So I have a thing called the Journey of Sunday. The idea behind Journey of Sunday is I talked to so many of my coaching clients that were struggling with spirituality for many reasons. Maybe they grew up in a family that it wasn't a big point of subject. And there's people that have grown up that they have some emotional scars, honestly, from their spiritual experiences, just from growing up in maybe an environment that wasn't super supportive, and they blame it on their spiritual experiences. So for me, it was really important to try to create something that people could have a more open conversation and reconnect to that concept of spirituality. So that's the idea of Journey of Sunday. It's on my Instagram channel or my YouTube channel pretty much every Sunday. If we have things like social-a-thon, sometimes it doesn't happen. But yeah, pretty much every Sunday we do some kind of conversation that's just super open about spirituality.
I love it. And I highly recommend everybody watch it. It's just amazing.
I think they need a laugh, Sam.
Yeah, show them. Go ahead. This was a great photo. Jesse, what's the story behind this one?
Well, I mean, you know how me and Guy Tang are total bros.
don't remember this moment.
No, there was a life-size cutout of him, among others. Like, so you can see that yours is there as well. So it wasn't like there was just one, but yeah, we had to pose with it. It was too good to pass up. That was in Chicago.
Yeah, that was, yeah. But that last one there, Andrew, this is a great shot. Look at me down below. Somebody was saying, so Sam, what did you look like in beauty school? There you see it. That down to bottom. And that's actually a photo of Paul Mitchell and myself. And
So cool.
This was a class that I went to. Paul Mitchell was doing these seminars in Hawaii. And I saved up all my money, got on the plane, had never been to Hawaii before. And that's where I met Paul Mitchell. And from that point on, I followed him. So above that, you'll see me sitting with Angus Mitchell. And Angus and I were talking, and this was at a TV program we were shooting called The Look All Stars. Angus was a judge along with myself. But Angus and I were in deep conversation. He goes, hey, I understand you and my dad go way back. So what I did was I took this and sent it to Angus. I said, yeah, I'm going to send you a photo of me and your dad. But isn't it interesting? Here he is, Paul Mitchell, and his son Angus, and me coming from my father being in the industry, and then Anna Pacheco saying that she comes from a family of hairdressers. But I think it's all, what's so great about this industry, the people we meet, the paths that we cross, and how everybody affects your life in one way as a hairdresser. And Paul really affected my life in big times. He was really one of the first. And then after that, I discovered Tony and Guy Anthony, and there was the magazine Oral Vision. If anybody remembers that, it's way back in the early 80s, I believe, Oral Vision. But it was a great magazine, and you had people producing photographs there that were like, wow, it just made your eyes pop out. Watching these things that Anthony and Robert and Trevor were creating were pretty incredible. But I'll never forget one time watching Paul Mitchell, and he took a middle part, he took duct tape, put it on this side, taped it to the model's head. He brought the hair over, put the hair on the duct tape here, and then he put his hand on it, and then he cut it. So he was using the duct tape like a cutting board, and he was elevated all to one position, put his hand there, and boom, and he let go of it, and he had this shape that worked from short to long. I mean, but to see him tape somebody, I'm like, how's he going to get that tape off her hair? But leave it to Paul. He did it. And he was such an out of the box thinker, in those days. And I think that's what, you learn from everybody something. So yeah, that was a great photo there. But that's what I looked like back in those days.
I was about to say, did you know John Travolta at that time as well? Like,
very funny, Beth. Very funny, Beth. I could show pictures of you, Beth, in terms of when you looked at those days. Yeah, here's it. This one's even better, Andrew.
All right, send it over. Well, guys, I think we should probably start to wrap things up. I think to wrap it up, I'd love to know what you guys feel like is next for you. Actually, here, let me show this one. Oh, wait, that's the same picture, Sam.
Okay. Yeah, but it shows me a little bit. Look at my vest.
Oh, yeah, hang on. That's sexy.
Look at my hair.
So good.
Awesome. I love it. So yeah, let's as we wrap up, let's share one thing that we're kind of looking forward to for our own careers as we move forward in our careers.
Go ahead, team.
Jesse, you got something?
Well, I mean, as you guys all know, and maybe not everybody knows, but you guys at least know that my struggle with video work and finding my voice and trying to be comfortable with that. So it's getting there slowly but surely, and I'm going to keep doing it no matter how much it hurts the people that are looking at it. So just get ready. Looking forward to refining that process. And thank you all for all your coaching, of course.
Yeah, of course. Love that. And, especially after the show must go on, I mean, the response to you and Anna was just, that was, I think, what brought probably the biggest, just heartfelt, just proud papa moment to both Sam and I, just watching the crowd explode with love for both of you was just that was what was really exceptional for both of us, I think. And so the world needs more Jesse on video.
Yes,
what about for you, Anna?
I'm right there with you, Jesse. I know we are on the same team when it comes to video. It's something that, we haven't always been so eager to just do on our own, but I love assignments. And so with this time, like dishing us out these assignments, and I definitely feel like we found our groove. We feel more comfortable. So I want to produce more video for sure, and share our passion and our love in that way with the industry. And then business, I want to do better business as a salon owner and as a stylist, and then as a mom, just it's a constant roller coaster of trying to be great at being a mom. It's like so fantastic one day, and then the next day you're like, I'm going to die. Just trying to figure it all out. But yeah, better business and more video.
Very cool. But for you, Sammy?
You know what? I want to be a better teacher. I'm just trying to find other ways in which to teach and discover other ways. I think that, I've really tried to, we've heard this word over and over, but I really pushed my pause button, and I'm just resetting. I want to reset my voice as a teacher, continue to kind of I think really what's moving forward is simplicity is today's brilliance. So I'm trying to think, how can we make things even more simple for our colleagues out there? That's one of the things that I'm striving for.
Very cool. I think for me, it's kind of in a similar vein. I feel like my role in our industry is kind of evolving right now, with things like cabin fever, and just I had a great conversation with the people at Beauty Industry Updates on Monday. And I just, I feel like there's kind of this new space that I'm being called to be a part of, that is maybe a little more in that that bridge between, okay, here's business coaching, here's technical coaching, but there's kind of something in between there, and I'm finding a really amazing passion for that kind of content. So I think that that's part of what's next for me too. I love teaching hair, don't get me wrong. I'll, continue to teach hair, but I'm really excited about talking to people about just what supports them as humans too in this industry. So I think that's what's next for me.
That's awesome, Andrew. You know what? Yeah, brother, you got lots to offer. All three of you have a lot to offer, and I'm so glad that we're just really, for everyone out there, we're just really getting started. And speaking of that, Andrew, talk to us about May 31st.
Yeah, so May 31st is our next big event. We haven't publicly posted about it yet, so you guys are the first to hear. We've got Miss Anna Peters and then Mr. Jesse Linares down there. They are going to be teaming up with our good friend George Garcia. We're going to do something for you guys where it is an adventure as a client in hairdressing. We're going to talk about the fact that people are going to be coming back into the salon. They're going to want great service. They're going to want the trendiest, most awesome looks, but they're also going to want more longevity, more efficiency, more lived-in kind of feelings. And so Jesse, Anna, and George are going to walk you through a cut, a color, and styling and finishing all on one mannequin head. I don't know how we're going to do that virtually. We're just going to have to use the Star Trek, what's it called? Where you beam people from place to place.
Beam us up, Scotty.
We're going to have to beam the mannequin head from place to place, but you guys are going to see it go from cut to color with George, cut with Jesse, color with George, styling and finishing with Anna. And I think it's going to be really, really super cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really awesome. And then we have another big surprise happening for you on June the 14th. We're working on that right now, but that's going to be pretty awesome too. If you thought Show Must Go On was awesome, and you thought Social Thon was awesome, wait until you see what happens June the 14th. We're pretty excited about that too.
Well,
and bring us to some closure, brother.
Yeah, and thank you guys so much for joining us and having a little beverage with us. Like we said in the beginning, the main thing I think we all probably miss at this point in our lives is just human connection. But what a brilliant time we live in that we can do this, right? We can get together on Facebook, we can get together on YouTube, and all just see each other in person. I love seeing the chat bar, just everyone showing so much love and just connecting with us. If we can't do it in person, thank God we have the internet. So we just wanted to enjoy a beverage and, connect personally. And please know that we are always here for you. Like we said earlier, every single person on this screen right here is a part of your community. And we openly invite you to message us, connect with us. We are here to support you.
And there's one person I want to give a shout out to that really played a major role in building this team. And I want to give a shout out to Geneva Cowan. Geneva Cowan from Alaska really taught us how to use our hands and how to see things in a different way photographically. When you take a look at a lot of our photos, a lot of that is inspired by Geneva. Geneva had her hands in every photo that you see. Geneva had her hands in there, and she was guiding us in that. But we miss her. She's brilliant, and we wouldn't be where we're at artistically as a team, photographically as a team, marketing as a team, if it wasn't for that particular woman. So, Geneva, we love you, my dear. We thank you for all that you've done for us. And who knows, maybe we'll get the team back together again someday. And we'll have a nice, beautiful photo shoot. I miss those days. I really do. So, Anna, closing remarks? Jesse?
Stay strong.
We're back.
Do this.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And join us. Andrew, thanks for putting this together. And continue to be, Jesse, Anna, and Andrew, continue to be the people that you are. I'm so fortunate to be surrounded by you three. God bless you and know that I love you.
Love you.
Cheers, you all. We love you.
Bye, guys. Love you lots.
Bye.